this is the trellis that I just bought. I've got a second one I still need to put together, and this is not where it's gonna stay. I set this back up this morning because I'm gonna plant Brussels sprouts under it and then put more chicken wire around the ends to keep all of the critters and kitty cats out of it. So I'm probably gonna move this back here and put that on that end. But anyway, I just thought this was really cool because when I opened up the package, I realized that all of the pieces are plastic. They do have like little aluminum connectors, but the pieces are plastic, which means this is never going to rust and deteriorate and fall apart like that thing will after a couple of years. So really great idea for the design. Still a bit undecided if that's where I will leave them or if I'll move them to this bed over here. But anyway, all of my apparatus that I need are in place. So now we're just waiting patiently for the time to come to plant. Hello. I was busy in the garden yesterday on my lunch break after I finished putting those together, but I just really didn't want to hassle with recording, so I thought I would come show you a quick update of what I did. So I did move this back into place and secured it down, and I had to put new zip ties down here because the previous ones had ripped out on both sides. What you doing, Miss Emily? Say, I'm chasing a buggy. Anyway, and then it's on the back side, so I can't really show you. I can show you this one. There were a couple of little rips, so I had some heavy duty thread, so I just kind of repaired those, and I oiled the the zippers, so that they would open and close more easily. So I got that done, and then I went ahead and pulled my chicken wire out and closed up these ends. Even though there's nothing planted in there yet, I just kind of wanted to get it set up and secured so it's all ready to go. And these, I kind of decided that once the greens are finished over there and it's time to actually start the squash, I'm going to put butternut squash on these, but I'm going to move them both to that end because I'll have beans in this bed, and I have another set of those that I'm going to put in, and once those are in the bed, it's going to be completely full. So there will not be room for this at the end. It's going to be all underneath. These are the old doors from my tomato cage, but they work perfectly for keeping rabbits out of green beans. So that for the green beans, this big old net for the tomatoes because it's tall enough to support them. And over here, I don't know yet if I'll end up needing to cover this bed. I guess time will tell, and if we do, I'll figure out something else. I may just I have a lot of chicken wire left, so I may just throw some chicken wire over it if there's anything that is trying to get into this that I need to keep out, including the cats, because Miss Emily over there, you can see her, she has been trying to use these beds as a litter box after I put all the soil in them and they were just wide open. So got to keep her out of that because we don't need any cat feces in the vegetables. So, but anyway, I have the plastic on and ready to go. So I just have it, I cut it down to fit, and then I just have little binder clips on the end to hold them. So when I'm ready to get in, I'll just undo that clip and lift the plastic so I can get into it to plant all of the greens, which I'll be doing here. Honestly, I think I could do it now because I'm looking at the 10-day forecast. It's going to be all 50s and 60s. We don't have any more below freezing temperatures. So it really seems to be safe now. But I have in the greenhouse, we'll hop in here and I'll show you. So I have all the greens started in here, and the kale is doing great, so I can transplant that for sure. But everything else, I have like one little bit of prize head sprouting. The leeks are okay. But just as far as the greens, they haven't really sprouted yet. And I had an issue with them last year. I put them direct sow into the ground and nothing came up. Well, a few little bits came up and that was it. And this was last year's batch of seeds, so I don't know why they didn't do well. They just didn't, and that was the first time I've ever had that experience. But I thought I'd start them in here and transplant them if they worked, and if they weren't sprouted by March 1st, then I'm just going to buy new seed packets and start over. So, and then the others are all in here. These were some that I had started in cells kind of similar to those and had them growing inside, but they just were really, really slow growing. So when the time came, I put them out here, but I have seeds in here and I have not seen anything sprout yet in that either. So it's looking like I'm probably going to have to go buy some new seed packets for all of my leafy greens, but at any rate, those will be started underneath of this. Basically, this is an inexpensive way to do a cold frame. So the plastic that's on there is actually just a sheet of painter's plastic. I don't remember what mil it was. I want to say probably 3 mil. But at any rate, it's $3 or $4 for this whole big thing of it, and I just cut it down to fit. And then since I took the top off of this, because all it does is just get in the way and keep me from being able to reach into the back. So since I took that off, I did come and cut like little X's in here for water drainage, so that when it rains, water can actually drip down and first of all get in and water the plants, but also not collapse the whole plastic top due to the weight of the water standing in it. So anyway, it's all ready to be planted, so I'm just patiently waiting. And like I said, I think I could do it now. I need to put out the carrots, the beets, the peas, all of that stuff, and I think I could do it now. But I want to wait until March 1st and look at that extended 10-day forecast from there and make sure it's safe, because I did this last year when we were having the same kind of weather. And then March rolls around, and in early March, we had like this big ice storm. And I had to start all over, and everything that I'd put out, I lost, and I had to re-sow everything. And so I'm trying to avoid that this year. But the kind of last thing I'm going to need to do, other than get some more soil now that some of this has settled, I need to grab a few more bags and kind of top off this before I put the tomatoes in, and top off all of these holes before I sow anything in those. But I also need to bring, oh, there's my scissors. I forgot I had out here. I need to bring the other 2 pots around here. I need to dump the soil out of them because it was last year's soil and I don't know if it got the fungus in it or not. So we're just going to get rid of it to be safe, and then refill those. But I also will probably need to fashion something to keep the squirrels out of that. And more than likely, I'm just going to end up using some chicken wire and kind of rig something up. But anyway, we are done for now and just patiently waiting to start planting. Hello, so I am officially welcoming you to the recipe segment of this. So I'm making some zucchini fritters, and I've had the zucchini sitting aside for a couple of hours now to get the moisture good and drawn out of it. And so I'm going to uncover it, and I'm actually going to use one of my nut milk bags to squeeze out the moisture before continuing on to the next steps. I have everything else out that I need, so I'm going to go ahead and just get started. while those are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and set up my bed of greens that I'm going to serve them on top of. And it does come with a recipe for, I think it was like a yogurt dill sauce, but I don't have any plant-based yogurt. They don't even carry any in my town that isn't sweetened. So I'm going to whip up a real quick tahini sauce to drizzle over it. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and get my plate set up, and then I'll get out the ingredients to make the sauce. All right, I really wish I had some fresh cilantro for this, but I do not. I think I might actually do the dill, though. Let's see if I have any. Yes. Okay, so I'm kind of just going to throw a bunch of stuff together here. I'm just about out of tahini. Alexa, add tahini to the shopping list. Yeah, okay. So we're just going to do this. I'm going to throw in some lime juice and some seasonings, and we'll have a good drizzling consistency. I may do like I did for the last recipe that I made, where I pour in just a little bit of almond milk to kind of thin it, but we will see if I need to. All right, just enough time to enjoy some food outside before I have to clock back in. I got about 20 to 30 minutes left to go, so bon appetit. Turned out good. Good evening. I just got back from a hair appointment and I got a brand new cut this time. Not super different, but I did an angled bob instead of my usual blunt cut. But every time I do a haircut and color, or just even a hair color, I drive up the interstate 35 miles to my hometown because the same person has been doing my hair since I was 14 years old. And I feel like by this point, she's pretty much got it down to a science. But, and it also is so much more affordable up there. To have the same thing done here in my town would cost almost twice as much at pretty much any salon you go to. So I keep going back to the same person, and I will continue going to her until I can't anymore. But while I was there, let me grab my book real quick. So I always take a book to read while I'm getting my hair done. And I took the first book in the Little House on the Prairie series this time. And it probably sounds crazy because I know technically this is like a young adult book, but I first read, I believe it was just Little House on the Prairie, I want to say in 5th grade, and I ended up getting the whole 9-book set. And I've read it a few times throughout my life, but it's probably been at least a decade since the last time I read it. And I don't know, something about the changing weather and warming up outside and spring and planting, it just had me in the mood to read about simpler times. And I am just about 50 pages in, and you know, already she's talking about preserving food for winter and telling the stories that her dad used to tell about life in the woods and all of the animals and stuff that were still common in the woods back then that we've kind of wiped out of existence now. And I don't know, it's just almost enchanting to read about, and I really enjoy it. So it's been a long time, and I really need to finish Père Goriot by, it's a Balzac novel. and I'm about a quarter of the way through that one. And I started it back in, I think, even December, but I've had so many library books, the holds that I had placed had come up, that I've just constantly had a library book here. And so it kind of got put on the back burner, and I'm in a lull right now where I've returned my last book, but I don't have any of my other ones ready yet. I do have an audiobook that was available again that I've downloaded, and it's one that, and I'll put it up here so you can see, but it's one that I started last year, and it is really, really long. It's like 50 something hours long, and I do have the hard copy of the book in my basement library. But it's just books that long. I really like to do the audio version so I can listen to them while I'm doing other things and get through them faster than if I were to just sit down and read in my free time, which I don't have much of. So anyway, I was going to pick up the Balzac novel again and work on finishing that now that I'm in kind of a down period, but just something about the series was calling my name and I couldn't help myself. And so Balzac will wait. It is a book that I own and it's not going anywhere. So I've started this series over again. And I mean, honestly, since it's young adult, it goes so fast. I just in the like 30 minutes that I was sitting letting my hair set, I got 50 pages in. So it won't take long to get through the series, but I'm excited for it. So I don't know, this whole season is just fun and invigorating. So I am here for all of it. But anyway, new old book series, new haircut, and I'm going to settle in for the night. It's about 8 o'clock now, and I'm going to work on this book until I'm ready to go to sleep. So I will catch up with you tomorrow, Friday. I don't even know when. I have no plan for this vlog. It's just me living life this week. No big projects or anything going on. So hi, Miss Emily. You ready for some snuggles? She's on her way to go out and look out the window. This is what she does. Actually, wait for her to get in there and I'll show you if I can. There is so much hair right here on this curtain because she always walks in right there. Every single morning we have this ritual, and I would film it except it's pitch black and I'm not even about to worry about that first thing in the morning. But I wake up around 5:30 every day, and the first thing I do is open the door and let Emily in because she's out in the hallway waiting on me. I don't allow cats to sleep with me because I'm a very light sleeper and I would be woke up 50 times a night if I let them in here. But the first thing she does is she comes in and she goes straight to the window and she does that, and then she's in there for a couple of minutes, and then she comes out right here in the center and then she lays on me and snuggles for a few minutes, and then she gets up and goes back to the window, and she just does this on a constant cycle until I get out of bed around 6 a.m. So anyway, enough chit chat. I'm going to get to reading, and I don't know what's coming next, but I will see you soon. Good night. And there go all the sirens. I don't live too terribly far from one of the firehouses here in town, so you hear sirens a lot, but sure didn't take long. I'm sure there's an accident on the interstate or something, but it was kind of crazy how suddenly that blew up here. And I don't recall a storm in recent memory with that much hail. Like, it was small hail, thankfully, but it just kept on going. A lot of times it'll start with hail and it'll do it for a minute or so and then quit, but this was like the entire time. Kind of crazy, but see if you can hear the sirens. Now that it's done hailing, I wanted to check and see how my garden drainage was doing. So it looks like it's still pooling a little bit, but it's better than it was. Well, it's not really building up over here. I don't know, all that work I did for the drainage, I don't know how much it really helped anything, because it looks like it's still kind of getting stuck down here at the end. I made a very simple beans and greens for my dinner tonight. So I'm gonna settle in and eat this. And I've got my book, which I'm about halfway through already. And that's gonna be my evening. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and just end this vlog here because tomorrow is Friday. And that's pretty much gonna start off the weekend vlog. So over the weekend, probably gonna be pretty busy because we need to go and work on the cabin. We have to get the loft built out because my mom has found someone to do the drywall for us to finish it, because if we do it ourselves, it's gonna take a year, I swear, because we just don't ever have time to go up there and work on it. So anyway, before he can do that, we have to get the loft built out. So we are going to do that this weekend. I believe we're going up Saturday to take measurements, probably get lumber ordered, and then go up and do the build on Sunday. So thank God for Michael, because he always saves us with stuff like this, because he's so good at these things and he knows exactly what he's doing and it's done right. And we're very, very blessed to have him around for these kinds of situations. But anyway, that's gonna be the start of the next vlog, and I'm gonna say goodbye and enjoy my dinner and read my book. So I will see you next time.